canonically furry, but we honestly don't need to think about that too hard. Oh, we absolutely need to think about that too hard. Canonically furry. What does that even mean? Does the 700-year-old demon have a tail? Does he shed on the ancient furniture? I have questions.
For heaven's sake. That was one reviewer's off. The cuff remark, likely facetious, buried in a comment section. Can we please attempt a modicum of professionalism?
Professionalism? We're talking about a book where a teenager moves in with a 700-year-old forest creature. This isn't Chekhov. It's Where the Dark Stands Still by A. Poranek, and apparently it involves geriatric demons and possibly plushy outfits. Welcome back to Heart Book Radio, folks.
The book is a dark fantasy romance, drawing heavily on Polish folklore. It tells the story of Liska Radost, a young woman ostracized for her magic, who makes a pact with the Leszy, an ancient warden of the woods.
Ancient? The man's practically Precambrian, 700 years old. And she's 17. 17. Remember when we argued about Twilight? You said Edward being 104 was pushing it. This guy makes Edward look like a toddler.
It's a fantasy archetype. The ancient, brooding entity. It's symbolic. And Twilight was problematic for entirely different reasons, primarily the sheer vapidity, which you consistently failed to grasp.
Oh, here we go. Professor Vance defending the creepy old dude again. Look, I don't care if he has a tree for a heart, metaphorically or literally, which, you splinters, dating a teenager when you were around before the invention of the printing press is just plain weird. He calls her, not so clever fox, condescending much.
It's complicated. He's a demon, a warden, bound by ancient rules. He's grumpy, yes, tormented, certainly. But there's a depth there. Some readers find him incredibly compelling. One of their favorite characters of all time, apparently followed by an if you know, you know.
If you know that you need therapy. And Liska, bless her heart, hates her magic because some kids were mean, grow a spine. Then she makes a deal that has, terrible idea, written all over it in giant, flaming letters. Serves him for a year to ditch her powers. Honey, just move to the next village.
She's young, desperate, and feels powerless. It's a classic Faustian bargain trope, exploring themes of self-acceptance and
questionable life choices. Some reviewers called her Bander hilarious, others called her bland. One Polish reviewer even said her using fancy words was or grotesque, harsh. What about the rest of the Scooby Gang? Sentient house, grouchy cat spirit, ghost dog, sounds like the Addams family went camping.
the found family aspect is quite charming, actually. The domovoi, the house spirit, provides some levity. The sentient house adds to the Gothic atmosphere.
Or it's just drafty and needs a good exorcist. And let's get back to the furry thing. Is he? Isn't he? Does the sentient house have shag carpeting? Inquiring minds need to know.
Nobody knows, because it was likely a joke. Can we discuss the actual literary merit, or lack thereof? The prose, for instance. Some call it luscious.
Luscious! What is it? A fruit salad? Or just purple prose trying too hard? One reviewer called it a predictable hash of familiar plot elements told on an unusually dreary background. Ouch. Sounds like my last family reunion.
It is derivative in places. The beauty and the Beast and Howl's moving castle comparisons are obvious. Perhaps too obvious for some. But the Polish folklore elements add a unique texture.
Texture? Like bark? Look, the real action isn't the plot, it's the ending. People lose their minds. Why? Why do I keep reading books that make me sob uncontrollably? I'm going to go lie down on train tracks now. Train tracks over a book.
The emotional response is notable. The ending is ambiguous, poignant. It requires the reader interpret. Some find that deeply affecting.
And others, like one reviewer, felt nothing and asked, "Am I cold-hearted?" Yes, probably. Or maybe the ending just wasn't that good. People are screaming, the Leszy is alive, like it's a conspiracy theory.
It is open to interpretation. That's the point of.
Okay, we got a listener email from someone who asks, if the Leszy is canonically furry, does that make Liska a furry adjacent? Asking for a friend. See? People care about the real issues.
That is utterly inappropriate and, frankly, nonsensical. The book attempts a dark fairy tale atmosphere, exploring sacrifice and love against the odds.
Against the odds of social services getting involved. So, is it any good? Forget luscious? Forget archetypes? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
It's complicated. The atmosphere is well crafted. The folklore integration is interesting. But the central relationship is uncomfortable, and the pacing drags until the final third. It evokes strong reactions, which is something, I suppose.
So, a literary shrug. Weak sauce, weak sauce.
Fine, if I must stoop to your level. I give it 5 out of 9 circles of folkloric hell. Docked points for questionable age dynamics and your obsession with mythical haberdashery.
Ooh, fancy. Okay, my turn. For the sheer drama it caused, the potential furry scandal, and making people want to nap on railway lines, I give Where the Dark Stands Still 4 out of 7 ancient restraining orders. It's terrible, but I kind of want everyone to read it just so we can argue more.
Encouraging literary masochism, wonderful.
Hey, it's entertainment. Speaking of which, next week we're tackling Gary the Sentient Garage Door Opener's midlife crisis. Apparently, it's a poignant metaphor for suburban ennui.
I need a new co-host.
You keep saying that. Anyway, that's all the time we have. Keep those emails coming, you magnificent weirdos. This has been Heartbook Radio.